Hey friends, it is Frugal Things time. Thank you all so much for tuning in to check it out. My very first frugal win is kind of a win/fail, but I'm categorizing it as a win because I had the money to pay for the problem. And previous to this whole debt-free journey thing, I wouldn't have had the money to pay for this type of problem, and it would have thrown my life into chaos for a while. So this past weekend, while I was off of work for a couple of days because of the hurricane, campus shut down a little bit, and I'm fine. Everyone I know is fine. Thank you very much for all of your well wishes, and my prayers are with everyone in Houston and the affected areas. It's pretty horrible what has happened, and as someone who went through Hurricane Katrina, that affected where I lived as well. When I lived in Long Beach, Mississippi, I was a senior in high school. I actually had to go to school in Jackson for half a year because the damage was so bad I couldn't go back to school. It hits home, and I know what these people are going through, and I can't pray for them enough. So that said, Monday and Tuesday we were off this week because I am not an essential personnel anymore, which is very nice. Back when I was a journalist, I would have been out taking pictures of the damage. I would have been going to the scary affected areas, but because now I work for a university and write for them, we were told to stay home and be safe, which was a nice relief. It was a very nice relief, and I was just able to worry about me and pray for those affected. So on one of the days that we were off, on Tuesday actually, I was out and about and my car battery gave out on me. I had to get a jump off from someone else who was just in the same parking lot I was, which was very nice of them because, you know, during that situation, I could not have gotten roadside to come out for hours. And I drove quickly to an AutoZone type place, which was open, and I had to get my battery tested and get a new battery. So that was $140 that I wasn't planning on spending, but because I have sinking funds for car repair and replacing it eventually, because cars wear out, they're not a resource that you keep forever, they wear out, they get old. I was able to just transfer some money over that fund, from that fund real quick, pay for it, and it was such a little blip in my day that I almost forgot about it, honestly. When someone asked me later that day, oh, what'd you do yesterday? I was like, this, and oh yeah, I had to get a new battery for my car. But it was a nothing thing because I have the money saved for when things like that happen, because cars wear out. So I'm calling that a win, because back before I became debt-free, back before I started budgeting and saving and kind of planning for life to happen at me, when life happened at me, everything kind of panicked. I might not have had $140 to be able to spend on a new battery. It would have thrown my whole life out of whack. And it's just kind of a different life now that that's just a blip. So it's a much better way, I think. All right, next up, I also, frugal win, I spent $25 on an online live stream. Dave Ramsey actually announced that he and his daughter Rachel Cruz will be hosting a live stream smart conference event on Tuesday, November 7th, which is a little bit away, but it's at night, so you don't have to take off of work for it, because I have taken off of work to watch a smart conference online before. It was amazing, and because I was able to purchase essentially a ticket to watch it online, I'm actually gonna have some friends over, and I've invited them to come over and watch the smart conference with me. So I'm very excited about that. I'll probably do food, make it into a little party, and I couldn't be more excited about it. Also, with the purchase of a ticket, you got a free will and a free ebook of Smart Money, Smart Kids, which I actually haven't read yet. I didn't purchase it because, one, I was in debt at the time it came out, and two, I don't have kids, but free ebook, I'll probably read it. I'll at least stick it on the list of books I want to read. So that'll be really, really cool. I'll put a link in the description box to go to that live stream if you want to check it out. All right, third, I set up my auto pay for rent. The apartment complex that I rent from right now doesn't have an option to e-pay or pay your bills online. You actually have to like hoof the check down to them or bring them cash or money order or whatever. And I'm kind of terrified that I'm gonna forget that. If you guys remember last year, I was a day late paying my rent because the first fell on a Sunday and I walked my check over on a Monday, and I got charged $35, and I'm still kind of scarred from that. Now, I haven't been late, and I've never been late before, other than that one time, but I figured out that Capital One 360, and some of you guys mentioned this when I had that one fail and was a day late and had to pay that $35 fee, and I finally decided to go through with it. I was just hoofing a check down, but it's actually completely and totally free. Capital One 360, you can set up a bill pay for them to send a check for rent or other bills to a company or a place or a person every month, and it's completely free. You don't even have to pay for postage. So that's actually cheaper than doing it my way, where I have to pay for checks, because checks cost money, and so and stamps cost money, and I was walking it before, so I wasn't doing stamps. But now I've got it set up so on the 25th of every month they will send a check to my rental company, and it says it should be there by the 29th. They guarantee it, which will be there in time to pay my rent for the next month, and it'll just automatically go out of my account. They'll also send me an alert 5 days before they send it and the day they send it. So, and those were just options that were like automatic in there. So that was really cool. And in my head, I guess I imagined when somebody else suggested that it would cost money. And I didn't want to pay money when I could hoof it for free. But it's completely free, and this is Capital One 360 that I'm talking about, where I keep all of my sinking funds. I've recommended them for years because it's interest-bearing checking accounts and savings accounts that you can name. You can have up to 25. It's perfect for sinking funds, all FDIC insured and everything like that, but that they have this bill pay thing, it's so cool. And so now I don't have to worry about ever being late with my rent again. It will automatically get sent. I'll get alerted that it has been sent. I even told my landlady person that I've set this up, and I'll check with her and make sure that she's getting it. So before I completely automate out, I'll double check that it's working, but everything will be automated then, and I never ever have to worry about getting a late fee for that, even though I've only done it that one time. The one time was enough, fam. The one time was enough. So that was pretty awesome. So those were my three frugal wins this week, and that was pretty awesome. It was a good week. It was a short week because, like I said, I had off a couple of days, but it was nice. I got to catch up on sleep a little bit. So, and obviously I'm safe, didn't have any leaks or anything like that. I was very, very lucky. All right, let's move on to my fails. So sometimes you get how you get a wild hair. Sometimes I get a wild hair, and I'll see a video on YouTube or something like that, and I'll be like, oh, that's so cool, that project, I want to do that. And then you see how much the supplies are. And so I saw this project. It was actually HGTV Handmade. HGTV Handmade did a paint your pet using watercolors. And I was like, that's really cool. And they did a thing where you use a piece of tissue paper and you just kind of outline your pet on the tissue paper, and then you use a Sharpie to transfer it to watercolor paper, and then you use watercolors to make your pet. And I was like, that's so cool. And I have some watercolors from probably 15 years ago. All I would need is some watercolor paper. And I got a little happy when I was shopping. I don't know why. I guess I was just in a spendy mood, but I ended up actually spending about $10 on supplies for this project. I bought new watercolors because the palette I had only had 6 things in it, and they had one for like $3 that had like 18 colors, and I was like, well, I don't know if mine has brown, or I don't know if I can mix browns, so let's just get one with browns and blacks and everything in it. And I got some new brushes, and I got some watercolor paper, and I just spent way more than I intended to on this project. I hadn't budgeted for it. I had originally thought that I could find some watercolor paper at like the Dollar Tree. I couldn't, and it was a wild hair that got stuck in my brain, and I couldn't let it go, and I spent too much on it. And the projects, they turned out kind of cool. I actually invited the boyfriend over, and we did these. This is his. He did sunflowers, and I tried to do Rory, and Rory's a brindle, so she's very hard, but I mean, it's okay, I guess. Both of these are on my fridge. But looking at this, now all I can think of is, you spent $10 on that project, you moron. Now, I still have all the supplies, and I can use them again in the future, but I'm not exactly a painter, So it was just kind of a wild hair that I let get out of control. It's fine, I'll learn from it. Like I said, I have this on my fridge right now because it does kind of look like Sweet Rory, right? Kind of. I'm looking at her down there, it doesn't really look like her. And it, unfortunately, instead of it just being kind of like a fun little cheap project, it cost me too much money. It was like $10, $12 for all the supplies. I went nuts. I can't explain it. So I went shopping with a list, and all that was on the list was watercolor paper. And I went crazy. All right, so it was just a whim. I need to do better. I'm normally pretty good about that, but this is also one of those things that before my debt-free journey, I would have just done on a whim, and I would have done like once a week. And I would have done the same thing with recipes, is I'll just see a recipe and I'll go out and get like all the ingredients for it and make it. And then I have tons of all like cream of tartar and stuff like that I'm never gonna use. Again, all these really highly specialized ingredients, and you know, it would have been cheaper to like go eat out because I just didn't really plan things out well. So now I'm much more cognizant of that. And I just kind of, I like to admit what I consider to be a mistake. Spending that much money on this was a mistake. I should have just bought, you know, the $2 pack of paper and done with what I had. It would have been fine. And better myself. So fortunately I could afford it, but it wasn't the best use of my resources that I have available to me. All right. Fortunately, I have a huge list of people who have been doing the best that they can with the resources that they have, because there were so many of y'all that had money milestones this week. I'm so excited. All right, so let's do this. First off, Xenia Loves Pink paid off her car loan. Yay, Xenia, good job. Natural Beauty 02 paid off a credit card and got a new job. High five to you. Sarah Alguin, sorry, paid off a credit card, whoop. And Elizabeth Disks paid off a car loan, whoop. Jason paid off student loans and is now debt-free. Welcome to the club, Jason. It is a much better life on this side. The grass is greener. It's totally greener. All right, next up, Julie Ann Price paid off her car, whoop. Sensible Living with Money Mon paid off the house, holla. And All About Towns paid off a credit card. Huge high fives to all of my friends who are absolutely killing it with money. I am just so proud of you guys. I am so happy for you. I just can't tell you how much I cheer you guys on, and I'm just so thrilled that we are just doing better. Doing so much better than we used to be doing. So, future's bright, babes. All right. Don't forget to leave your money milestones down below and tell me about your frugal wins and fails of the week. Have you bought anything recently that you just got on a wild hair and then later were like, yeah, that was dumb? Yeah. Fortunately, mine was only about $10, $12, but I'm pretty sure I've definitely done worse in the past. But, you know, $10, $12 adds up over time. It certainly does. So, don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. What do you think? What do you think? Does it look like Puppy? No, she doesn't think